you guys, I am so excited to have the one, the only Tyler J. McCall, Instagram strategist, with us today. And I have a lot of your questions that you've sent me. So we're just going to kind of dive into it. But I first, just to give a little background, I first met Tyler. I met you in the interwebs last year. We worked together, and I know that I was, and probably still am, your favorite client. But beyond that, yes. Yeah. But I just felt like when I first came across his profile, and I hope you guys all go check it out on Instagram. The reason I was drawn to you is because you are different than a lot of people that label themselves as Instagram experts or strategists. He's very real, down to earth. He, on his profile, does it still say that you like nachos and Target?
Yeah, I like nachos, Target, and my partner Eric, and it's in that order.
Poor Eric. I love it. But I just felt like it wasn't, it was a very human, it is still a very human account. And your focus, which we'll get into here soon, is about, it's not about the number of followers you have. That's not the measurement that we should be looking at. It's the relationships, the community, and you'll see that when you go to his page. But why don't we go ahead and dive in? And I'm just so happy that you're here. Thanks so much, Tyler.
Of course. Thanks for inviting me.
And let's just talk about, the one question is like, what is an Instagram strategist and how the heck did you get here?
That's a really great question. So right now it looks different today than it did even a year ago when Marion and I worked together. So right now, as an Instagram coach and strategist, I teach students in an online community called the Follower to Fan Society. And I created a training system for them. My team and I create a ton of monthly resources to help them implement the strategies we teach. And then I support them as they're doing that in their business. But to get here, I have a long history of a lot of different businesses. I did the side hustle thing for a long time before I went full-time entrepreneur at the beginning of 2016. Before that, I spent over 6 years in the nonprofit world doing membership and marketing for one of the world's largest nonprofits, the YMCA, and also spent time doing political and community organizing. So all of my background is in a few key things. The first thing, it's in creating space for people to really be themselves, to connect with one another, and to really figure out who they are, what's important to them, all of those really important things for us as entrepreneurs. The other thing that I spend a lot of time doing at the YMCA, and since then, is training and educating people. I was a certified YMCA trainer in a number of trainings around customer service, member experience, and all the different things that go into creating a really outstanding experience for people when they join something like the Y. So that was another part of what I did. And then my background in marketing, in particular, a lot of what I did before now was marketing causes and trying to get people to connect with something that was bigger than themselves, that they believed in, if it was maybe a political cause or a social cause. So I pull all of that into my experience now on Instagram and really focus on, as Marion said, focus on building real relationships with real people through content that is really high quality and really compelling. And that's what I talk about the most with my students when I talk about on Instagram.
Awesome. And this wasn't a question I wrote down, but as you're talking, I think it's a perfect segue, is like, what makes you different? Because there's a lot of people who have like that, I'm an Instagram expert, but what's your approach that makes you unique?
Yeah. So there's a few key things that I think about differently on Instagram. The first thing is, I don't believe Instagram is about the photos. Actually, I don't think it's ever been about the pictures. And I think a lot of times when we talk about Instagram, and we talk about the photo or the visual or the image, we let that either be the thing that we obsess over too much. So we spend so much time getting the perfect photo that we forget about the rest, or we let that be the roadblock that prevents us from using this platform. So instead of thinking of Instagram as a photo sharing platform, I think it's a storytelling platform.
Yes.
And it has been, this is the thing, it has been since the very beginning. So I want you to think back to maybe why you got on Instagram in the first place, if you did it before you got on it for your business, or if you've been on Instagram since the beginning. I've been on Instagram since 2010 or 2009, actually. 9 or 10, like right when it first came out, I downloaded it. And if you think back to the original way that people were using Instagram and how people who just use it for fun still use it to this day. They're using it to tell stories about their life. They're sharing photos of their kids on their first day of school or Halloween. They're sharing what they had for dinner. They're sharing their trips from their family, or photos from their family vacation. They're sharing pictures of the people who are important to them, of their pets, all of those things. They're using Instagram as a place to remember parts of their lives and to tell the story of their life. So you as a business owner need to use Instagram the way it was intended. And that's one of the big things I talk about. And then the other thing I talk about is really not looking at the numbers as a metric of determining your value or worth as a human being, but looking at the data as what it is. It's just data. It's just numbers, and letting that influence and inform what we do, but not letting it make us believe certain things about ourselves. So we talk a lot about that as well.
Yes. Preach. Yep.
Praise and emojis.
Okay. So Chloe asked, and I think this is a great question. How do you grow your following naturally on Instagram?
Such a good question. So I have a really layered approach that I teach, and Marion's familiar with this. This is what we teach inside the Follower to Fan Society. So before we ever even think about growing a following on Instagram, we have to get crystal clear on who we want as our ideal follower. So a lot of folks try all of these strategies. They'll do a ton of liking or a ton of following or commenting. They'll do follow, unfollow because someone told them that works. They'll do follow for follow. They'll buy followers. They'll buy likes. They'll try all of these things, but they have no concept of who they want to reach. So that's the first thing. Get crystal clear on who that person is. The next thing is get really clear on what action you want them to take. What is the objective for them on Instagram? And I want to challenge you a little bit in thinking that the objective is always to get them to buy. A lot of people think, well, I just need to convert them to a customer or a client. I need to book them for my coaching package or get them to buy my handmade product or whatever it may, or read my blog, right? But that's not necessarily the goal on Instagram. Instead, the goal is to start building that relationship and get them to a point to where they are a fan of you. So selling to them becomes something that you actually don't even have to do because they want to give you their money.
Yes.
So that's the next thing. Get really clear about that objective. And then the next thing is to create content for them. So you can't grow a following until you have high quality content. And I don't necessarily mean pretty photos here. I just mean it has to look like something you would share, sound like something that's true to you, and it needs to be really valuable to your audience. And then the last thing you can do is grow your following. So you see how I took your question about growing your following and told you how to do everything but grow your following?
Right.
That's because you can't even start growing a following until you've done all of those other things. And when it comes time to grow your following naturally, the name of the game is engagement. And I'm actually a fan of engaging more than I post. My rule is that for every one post I put up on Instagram, I'm going to go engage with 10 brand new people. And I actually engage more than that nowadays. You know, I'm at an interesting point in my career on Instagram where I post maybe twice a week at the most, but every single day I'm on Instagram doing Insta stories, commenting, liking, responding to direct messages, and building my community, and spending most of my time on Instagram outside of my account, connecting with people on their own turf.
Yes.
And that's how you grow that following.
Okay. So for every one that you do, you go find at least 10 other new
people, and find those people through hashtags, through who they're following, through where they're sharing content, if they're tagging locations on Instagram. There are a ton of places you can find people on Instagram, but the way to grow your following is not to just post your content and then run off of Instagram. So posting content is actually the easiest part of Instagram. You can buy stock photos. You can have a professional photographer do it for you. You can purchase. You can regram stuff. Some of my most popular posts on Instagram have been incredible posts that other people created that I reposted on my account. You can do that. That's the easy part. The hard part, the effort, the energy has to go into finding that dream person who we talked about earlier, and starting to hang out with them and have a conversation.
And you can't find them if you don't know who you're looking for, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. Well, you mentioned direct messages. I got a lot of direct messages asking the question, like, so it seems like early on DMs used to be like the people that you actually wanted to talk to on a deeper level.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it's starting to change a little bit, where people are now using DMs as a way to, I don't know, spam and like sell things, and the auto responder, like once you follow them. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think there's a few key things about Instagram that are changing and that we're going to see continue to be important. So those three things are Insta Stories, Insta Live, and direct messaging. I think those are really the three keys to success on Instagram moving forward, especially. The thing about a DM is that there are folks out there teaching direct message strategies that are based on pitching your products, pitching your services, sending coupons, all of those things, using the autoresponder. And I don't think that's the way to go. I don't think that's effective. Instead, I want you to think of DMs in two ways. The first way is, how can you create your content in such a way that you are opening up the opportunity for a conversation? So that's through your Insta stories, through
Mm-hmm.
Insta Live, through
Mm-hmm.
even the post on your feed. How are you creating content in such a way that you are giving your audience the opportunity to direct message you and start that conversation? Then the other thing is, how are you spending time watching other people's Insta stories and Instagram lives and direct messaging them from there? That's
Yes,
one of the most important places for you to be engaging with people and to start a direct message conversation. So
that's a good
I,
tip. Yeah.
yeah. So I say use direct messages, but use them really thoughtfully and just like a normal person. Like, don't be scammy, don't be stingy, don't pitch your products or services. And here's the other thing. If you do want to sell through a direct message, I think it can be done tactfully, but it always needs to be done in a way where you are reaching out to someone to serve them only. That's it. You just want to serve them. You want to serve them with your content, serve them with something that you've created, serve them with an idea, serve them with a suggestion, not selling to them, but serving them through that direct message.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I think that kind of goes into the next, Rebecca asks, so with Instagram stories, right? It's so important. What are the people that are doing it right? What are they doing?
Yeah, yeah. There's a few things. They are being intentional about the outcome they want from their story. So they are, and this is what I teach my students and what I do on Insta stories is, before I create an Instagram story, I'm asking myself these two questions. What do I want my audience to get out of this? So what are they going to either learn or experience or be better at because of the story? And then what action do I want them to take from the story? What do I want them to do next? Do I want them to be sitting on the edge of their seat waiting for my next story? Do I want them to go to my feed? Do I want them to direct message me? Do I want them to engage with a poll? There's a number of things we can have them do, but we can't create stories without that understanding of what you want them to get out of it and what you want them to do. A lot of folks are just creating stories. They're kind of using it as a way to vlog about their life, but they're vlogging without a strategy. So I don't think your followers necessarily want to just see a play-by-play of your day unless there's some context around it, unless they understand how that fits into their lives, right? So that's another really important thing with stories. And actually all of your content you're creating online is, it's not about you. It's
Yes,
about,
I know.
it's about your followers. So for example, a play-by-play of your day can be a really powerful story, but it needs to be created in such a way that it's benefiting your audience, where you are letting them inside so they get to know you better, where you are letting them come closer to you in your business, where you are showing them tips and tricks and ideas about how you are productive throughout the day, or how you meal prep, or how you plan out your schedule, or how you run your business and raise a tiny human, whatever it may be, but making sure there's value for your audience in that Insta story.
Yes. Okay. So one of the questions too is like what not to do with Instagram stories. And it sounds like, just if you don't have any strategy, or what's the end goal?
Yeah.
What are you adding to people's days? Are you just eating up their time?
Yeah.
Sounds like that's kind of the...
That's it. Yeah. Like, you don't want to, there's so much noise out there, right? And the last thing that I ever want to do is contribute to the noise. So think about that. How can I cut through that noise and stand out in the content that I'm creating? And then another thing with Insta stories, a huge mistake that people make is they don't close the loop. And what I mean by that is if you start something on a story, you need to finish it on that story. There's so many people, and I know you've probably experienced this. Marianne, let me know if this has happened to you, where someone is doing an Insta story and they're like, okay, today I'm going to show you how I make this, how my makeup routine, or today I'm going to show you like
I want to see your makeup routine, Tyler.
I know, right? I need one. Today I'm going to show you this thing, and I introduce it and I show you the beginning of it, and then I never finish it.
Yes.
How frustrating is that? Like, actually, our brains are hardwired to be uncomfortable with that. Okay, so if you aren't closing the loop for your audience in some way, they're going to hate you for it. The opposite is when people they bring you into an experience during the middle of it and you have no context for what's happening. It's like that thing where say you are, maybe you're watching a movie and your husband comes in like 30 minutes late and he's like, who's that? What's happening? What's going on over there? Why is that nun riding a bicycle? And you're like, are you serious? Like, watch the movie yourself or go read the synopsis on Wikipedia and figure it out on your own. Like, I'm not trying to, you don't want to do that on your Insta story either. You don't want to bring your people in the middle of something so they have no context for what's happening. So make sure you're being strategic and that you're creating, I don't know, a real story for people.
Yes. So it almost seems like, there's a lot of, I have a lot of bloggers are going to be watching this, that when they are going to share something like their makeup routine, for example, that they should know what the last part of the story is before they begin.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. How do you want to finish it up? And how do you want to build anticipation for what's next? Or how do you want to get your followers to come back for more? Or what's the action you're going to give them at the end of that story?
Or the question, like, how are you going to get them to engage? Yeah. Exactly. Awesome. Okay. That's, okay. So serious question.
Yeah.
How many times a day do you hear the word algorithm?
I hear it in my sleep. I wake up in a cold sweat.
Okay. Yeah, for real. So, and does it matter? And if it does matter, like, how can this be a good thing, or how can people talk to us about this?
Yeah. Okay.
You knew it was coming.
I know it was coming. The first thing, I love that you said I love that you didn't say, how can I beat the algorithm? Because that is literally the worst mindset you can have about going into Instagram. I think the algorithm is your best friend on Instagram. And I'm going to tell you why. The algorithm makes sure that the people who care about your content see your content. The algorithm makes sure that your content doesn't get lost in the shuffle. Think about if we went back to a chronological feed. At this point, there are nearly 1 billion people on Instagram. Of those, about half of them are on the platform every single day. The other stat you need to know is 1/3 of Instagram's users are on Insta stories every single day. So what's your excuse, my friend, if you're not using them yet? So if 500 million people were posting on Instagram every single day, think about how quickly your content would get lost in the shuffle. The algorithm makes sure that people see your content, that if it's important to them, they see it. It also means your content lasts a lot longer than ever before. And this is a good thing, because gone are the days of having to post 2, 3, 4 times a day on Instagram. I actually believe that gone are the days of having to post once a day, every day on Instagram. Our content lasts so much longer than before. So what does that mean for you as a content creator? That means that when you do create content, when you do share it on Instagram, that it can be even higher quality. It can be even more valuable. It can be even more impactful for your community. It also means that you can spend more time doing the important work on Instagram, which is engaging with people and connecting directly with people. The algorithm's really simple. All it's doing is when you post something, it's saying, did people engage with this? If so, it's worth showing to more people. So we're going to show it to more people. Did more of those people engage with it? Okay, we're going to show it to even more people. And it's also taking into account a lot of other parts of Instagram. So I want you to pay attention to this next time. Next time you're watching someone's Insta stories, if they have polls built into their story, I want you to respond to their polls. Or if they have questions, I want you to DM them your response. You will see that person's content show up in your feed instantly, more than ever before. If you are watching someone's live on Instagram. You will see their content. It'll be served to you immediately following the live because you've watched their live and
Oh,
engaged with their content. Instagram's telling you, or Instagram's looking at everything you do, and they're saying, oh, you really think that her content is valuable. You're watching her live, you're engaging with her story. We're going to start showing you more and more of her content. So here's the kicker. And I'm just gonna say this, and it may offend you, may offend folks. It's not gonna offend you, Marian, because you're a girl
that's
woman.
I'm hard to offend.
But this may offend some folks. The problem on Instagram is not the algorithm. The reason that people aren't engaging with your content anymore is because your content sucks.
No, just
Instagram has changed. It's because the type of content that people want and need on the platform is different today than it was a year ago. So you have to stop posting the same type of content. You have to stop using Instagram in the same way. You have to stop thinking that just a pretty flat lay with a witty caption and a few hashtags is going to get you the results that you need, because it's not going to work anymore. It's not going to work anymore. And what I've seen time and again is people are saying, my engagement's dropped, it's because of the algorithm. And I dig into their insights and I see that Instagram is showing their content the same amount of times today as it was 6 or 12 months ago. But people are not engaging with that content anymore. It's not Instagram's fault. It's not the algorithm's fault. It's the fact that you're not keeping up with the trends on the platform and you're not creating content for your audience.
Yeah. Oh, I love how you said that you brought it back to the audience, because if you don't know who you're talking to, you might just be creating noise they're not going to engage because your current following isn't maybe the right people.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of times what people are doing, I see this especially in the blogger space and the influencer space, is you're spending too much time looking at what she's doing or what he's doing and trying to replicate that on your profile. But that's not your audience, right? Speak to your audience. And you, sure, there's best practices. Sure, there's ways that you can create content. Sure, there are things that I can teach you and others can teach you that will make it easier for you and more effective and more genuine and all of those things. But at the end of the day, if you don't know who you're talking to and what you're saying to them, and you're just trying to replicate what everyone else is doing, it's not going to work. And that's why your engagement is tanking for you.
God, yes. Yes. Okay. And I like how you mentioned lives and Instagram stories, because the reverse is true. If you ask questions and encourage people and reward them with love and attention when they do respond and they do engage, then that's just going to compound itself, right? If you want people to engage in your stuff, you got to engage in others.
Exactly. And I built my business to this point today without a pretty beautiful, perfect website. I actually only had a landing page for tylerjmccall.com until about a month ago. When
I was going to say, you only had a landing page when
a landing page. I had a landing page. I did not blog. I did not YouTube. I did not spend money on Facebook ads. And I did 6 figures last year in my business using Instagram and building a list. That's it. We're on track to do multiple 6 figures this year. And we just have an Instagram account and a Facebook group.
Yes.
And that's it. Like you don't need all of these fancy
things. Yeah.
Like you just need a community of people. You need to talk to them directly and you need to solve a problem for them. That's all you got to do. And that's how you build a successful business.
Boom. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So I think that's a perfect segue then to, you've mentioned the Follower to Fan Society. What is that? What is, how can people get to know you better?
Yeah, so we have an online community called the Follower to Fan Society, and this is a membership community where we give you three key things that you need to be successful in marketing your business online. We give you an education and training system called the Follower to Fan framework. I walked you through a little bit of what we talked about today, but I really lay out how to build that audience profile, how to create content easily, and how to engage to grow your following and convert your followers to customers. We also have monthly resources like monthly hot seat calls, monthly master classes with guest experts, and monthly content guides that you literally just download and fill in the blank to plan out your content. It's so easy. And then we also have a Facebook group that is hopping, filled with my team and others who are there to support you, answer your questions, and all that along the way. So it is one of the coolest places to be online. But more importantly, it's one of the most kind and caring and supportive communities I've ever been a part of. And I'm really fortunate that we've been able to create that space for our members. And you can learn more at followertofansociety.com.
And I There's no surprise because the people that are attracted to you have the sim. I mean, you set the tone, so I'm sure it's an awesome community. Thank you so much, Tyler. Don't hang up, but I'm going to stop recording now. But thank you so much, and you guys go check out his stuff. He's one of the more down to earth people to follow, and it's inspiring. So thank you so much, Tyler.
Yeah, thanks for having me.